Hi everyone, my name is Kelly T. Smith. I am the author of the Intuitive Life Coaching Oracle Cards app. And today I'm going to be doing a reading for you guys using the cards. I have created a new spread called the Collective Journey Spread. Now the reason the name of this came through as Collective Journey Spread is if we think of our situation as kind of like the hero's journey. So if you've never watched the movie Finding Joe, I really highly recommend it. It's such an amazing movie. It is an eye-opening experience if you've never watched it. It will explain kind of the hero's journey a little bit more. And today I'm not going to go into the hero's journey as much, but I wanted to bring it up in the beginning so that we could understand that we are at the beginning. Well, we've been going through this for a while now, but the beginning of the call, when all of a sudden our entire way of being, everything about our life is completely changed in an instant. And not just individually, collectively, worldwide, this is happening. So this is a collective journey. And if we come together to really look at the bigger picture, we can work together to understand what's happening, not only from a collective level, but every one of these cards we're going to be talking about today are also affecting us on a very personal level. So whatever is happening within us is happening on a huge scale in the world right now, but it's also affecting us on a very personal individual level. So we're going to be looking at the personal individual level as well as the worldwide collective level, and then go up above to see a deeper understanding, to kind of bring in some of that peace energy, bring in aligning with understanding on a collective level and a personal level, what we can do to navigate all of these changes and shifts that are happening within and all around us now. The first position that we have right now is the situation / bigger picture. So for this position, I'm going to be drawing two cards. The first card that we drew for the situation is the fear card. So when we look into the energy of our situation right now, is all about this feeling of uncertainty, what's going to happen, trying to predict the future, feeling that energy of restriction, confusion, not knowing what to do, the fear of getting sick, the fear of not being able to pay our bills, the fear that something bad is going to happen, the fear that has to do with all of these conspiracy theories that we're seeing rising from everywhere. And so we are really in that energy right now. And when we look at that, that's happening on a collective level. We can also see that it's happening on a very, very personal level as well, because the fear is kind of translating as a feeling of, am I going to survive this? A feeling of getting sick, a feeling of what's going to happen to the world, a feeling of what's happening to my world. Individually for each person, the fear energy is affecting us on a very deep level, but it's a release. So it's an opportunity. When the fear rises up within us, when we actually face and look at the energy of the fear and we face our fears, then we can move up into the next level of conscious awareness. So the next level of conscious awareness, in order to move past what is present for all of us, what we're seeing, what is all around us, which is the fear energy of everything that is happening, when we go up, it's the bigger picture. So when we look at the bigger picture, that is going to help us release the fear energy. So what is the picture? What is the bigger picture? The bigger picture always represents what's happening on a collective spiritual level, the unseen energies that the fear is actually creating behind the scenes. So when fear comes in, it causes us to ask really important questions. So the bigger picture card is the core values card. Now, when we look at the core values card, from the collective level, we can see that we're asking the questions of, are we as a collective, are we in alignment with what matters most? And when we go into the energy of the core values, everything has to change. We can't move past the fears until we align with the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is, what is most important right now in the world as a collective? What needs to change? What needs to change in every single area, not just one area? The core values card is about asking those questions of understanding, have we made the wrong priorities a priority? Have we made money a priority? Have we made success a priority? Have we made power and control a priority? Have we made consumerism a priority? What have we made a priority that now cannot be a priority? So when we go back to the core is always aligned with the truth of who we really are. And the truth of who we really are is soul, spirit. So when we come back to the core, we aren't asking questions about what is best for me. We're asking questions about what is best for the highest good of everyone in the entire world. On a collective level, what needs to change? And whatever needs to change right now that we need to look at is breaking down all of the things that are not in alignment with this higher vibrational frequency energy that is now coming forward for everyone to open their hearts. We're seeing a breaking down of all of that. The breaking down has to happen so that we can realign. And in order to realign, we have to ask the right questions. What do we need to change as a society? Now, when we look at this that's a collective level, but we can now take this and understand that we'll see this playing out in our own individual life. Because if some of us have lost a job or, all these things are being taken away, then we have to really look at, was I just going along with something that that doesn't mean something deep to me? Was I just going along with something that isn't important to me because I felt like I have to in order to survive? But now that everything is changing, there's this opportunity to be still for each and every one of us to not only find our core value, but to find our value. So value for each individual person is coming up, to be valued, to value everyone around us, to find our own value, and then to honor our core values and act from that space. In order to act from the space of honoring your core values, then there's this stripping away of all that doesn't serve you anymore, all that doesn't resonate, all that doesn't work. And that includes relationships, dynamics, that includes how you show up in the world, that includes sometimes what we feel like we are contributing to the world, or what we are accepting that doesn't really resonate with us. So coming into this energy is about a stripping away of the old ways of being that do not represent the real you. That is happening on a very, very personal level, and that can be extremely painful. But if we take the time to do the inner work, to ask the important questions during this time of isolation and being away from everyone, we have this opportunity to rediscover ourselves on a deeper level. The next position is the collective lesson / gift. So the first card represents the collective lesson, and that is the power struggle card. It says you may be involved in a power struggle between two or more people. So the energy of the power struggle card is about me against you, you against me, me versus you. So when we look at this on a collective level, we can see how humanity seems to be split in two in regards to our beliefs about the way the world should be or what is most important. And as we kind of set down our need to justify, to argue, to add energy to those power struggles, then what happens as we release the need to put energy into the power struggle, when we align with who we really are, we are no longer needing to participate in that because we are just radiating it. And here's what's happening. Once you get to a place of truly understanding and knowing who you are on a deeper level, listening to the inner call, being able to honor who you are, what's most important to you, and see the bigger picture, not only for yourself, but for the world as a whole, then you don't have to participate in the energy of the you against me, the me against you energy, or having to justify who you are as a person. You just radiate it. Now, when you get to the space of being able to radiate it, that's when everything changes. I want to use an example here. So if you've ever had a situation where you've had a job with a really intense boss that seemed to have a hold over you, and no matter what you could do, you can't be promoted because this boss feels, has all of the control. And so it's this illusion. You feel like the boss has all of the control. You can't get another job because if you do, then you won't be able to survive. So then you're stuck there. Well, when you really start to understand the lesson of the power struggle, you realize that once you come into a place of complete and total awareness to what you are and are not willing to accept, you radiate the energy of that, and then all of a sudden the situation changes. It doesn't change it before you get that lesson. You don't fight with them to get the change to happen. Instead, the change happens from a vibration a decision you have made within you, something you have anchored into your energy field that now becomes your way of seeing and viewing the world around you. So now you get to a place where never again, no matter what it takes, I will never work for another person that treats me like that. Even if you've had 10 situations prior to that, once you make that profound decision and anchor that awareness in you, you radiate it, and now you are calling in something completely different. And you notice that you're not experiencing those same power struggle energies because you're not a vibrational match for that. So when we look at the collective power struggle, it's just all of this energy of separation. The power struggle energy is teaching us to unite, to come together, and to come together in our own collective shift for ourselves. Once we've made the shift within ourselves, we do not need to justify it. We do not need to argue. We do not need to add to that energy in any way. We just need to radiate it and act from that space. When you radiate that energy, you also call forward. You send out this light. You send out this energy that then becomes something that other people recognize within themselves. And all of a sudden you start to see all these lights coming on, because the most important thing we could ever do for humanity as a whole is to work on our inner self and then radiate a complete different vibration that's about unity and unconditional love, because we cannot change other people. We have this idea that we can change the world, but really, we are the world. Each one of us is the world. We are seeing and experiencing this because there is something within each of us on a collective level that is projecting this energy. And as we shift, each one of us individually shifts, we become that beacon of light for others to awaken and shift as well. So it's not about power. It's about setting down the sword. It's about letting go of the need to prove something or to fight about something. And the gift, the card for the gift is, when we are ready to open the gift is, and to open the gift, you have to understand the lesson. You have to integrate the lesson, and you have to really allow the lesson to unfold. And once you get it, then the gift is synchronicity. Now, what I love about how we drew the synchronicity card for the gift is that synchronicity is not about force. It's not about push. It's not about fighting. It's not about trying to make something happen. It's about aligning with the unseen energy and holding the vision from a collective space of what we want to happen. And then things start to shift. Things don't ever shift before then. Things don't shift based out of force in a positive way. They shift when we align and we hold the vision. So the gift is the synchronicities start to happen in our own lives as well. So if we take this back to a personal level, we look, where do we feel repressed? Where do we feel like we have to justify ourselves? Where do we feel like we can't be ourselves because someone else is telling us how to live our life, or we might be judged? We have to let that go now. We have to let go of feeling any kind of outer repression energy, and we just have to go within and align with our core values. Let go of any limited beliefs that say that something outside of you can keep you from anything, right? Because we are coming back to everything is energy. Whatever we radiate, whatever we believe, that becomes our real for us. So as we work right now to shift our beliefs about what is true for us and to honor that regardless of any outside energies, then we will step into the gift, which is synchronicity, which is magic, which is the energy carrying us to that place that we are envisioning. The next card is the next position is the blessing in disguise position. This position is when we look at the position of the situation, which is fear, and the bigger picture, which is core values. What are those two things that are being presented to every single one of us right now on a personal and a collective level? What is the blessing behind that? And that is unity. We drew the card of celebration for this position, and Spirit is showing us that regardless of what you can see with your physical eyes, the blessing is re-evaluation on an interpersonal level, but on a collective level that brings a shift, that brings us into a space of amazing miracles and blessings starting to happen through unity, through coming together. So what's happening right now is we're being pulled apart. And as we're being pulled apart, we are being isolated. We are going deep within. We are trying to understand. We are praying. We are, looking at the bigger situation. We are wanting change. We are wanting to change. We are acting out in compassion. A lot of amazing things are happening right now. Amazing businesses are, and people are helping businesses. Businesses are helping people. It is truly an amazing time right now. So if we can stop and look at the blessing that the situation is calling in, it's literally ushering in right now. And it is hard, but at the same time, there is a blessing here. The next position is the spiritual guidance position. So this is the position of when we are, instead of acting from a place of fear, acting in survival mode, doing what we think we have to do, but going into the core values, making the shifts, asking for guidance, aligning with our vision, then the spiritual guidance here is, again, has to do with unity, and that is generosity. So as we're being pulled apart, we are being pulled together. Isn't that amazing how that's happening? And for those of you who study the law of attraction and really understand the law of attraction, it is when we get what we give, we reap what we sow. Right now, what we need to be doing is all things of compassion, all things of kindness, all things of generosity, being able to just give out of the purest place in our heart to want to support, to want to love, to want to be of service. That is our guidance right now. That is what we should be focusing on. And when we get caught up in the fear and caught up in our own personal stuff, if we come back to that place and align with the compassion, the kindness, and the generosity, then we'll start to feel lighter. We'll start to feel better. We'll start to feel healthier because we are answering the call. The last card is the ultimate outcome card. And for this position, I drew 2 cards. The first card is called the spiritual growth card. And this card is all about being in the waiting room, which to me is very ironic because this is the card that says, when you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again and it doesn't work, and all of a sudden you cannot move until you learn this lesson. You cannot move. You can't go anywhere. There's nowhere to go. You're spinning in circles. You're going back and forth. So the only place to go right now is within. Each one of us going within to personally understand what's going on with us individually. And as we look at what's going on with us individually, we can also see what's going on with us collectively. It's a huge heart opening. It's a coming back to unity. It's a coming back to the core values of what matters most. It's a breaking down of things that are no longer a vibrational match with the energy vibrations that are now coming in. Each one of us are having a major awakening through this and have been for quite some time. The ultimate card, outcome card, is the positive life changes card. Now, I love that we drew those 2 cards because as we learn the spiritual soul collective lesson, we get to open the gift, and then the ultimate outcome of everything, no matter who knows how long it's going to take to get there, is that things are going to change for the better. And we can count on that. We can believe that that is true. It's going to change for the better for each person individually and each person collectively, because we are now coming together. We are now uniting. We are now looking at the world as a whole, no longer the me mentality, no longer the survival mentality, but the unity coming together out of love, compassion, kindness, and the highest good for everyone. So we can expect positive changes through all of this chaos to be the end result. Thank you all so much for listening. I really just wanted to share these messages that were coming through the Oracle cards, and I hope that you enjoyed them. And again, if you feel like this has helped you in any way, I would appreciate it if you shared this message with anyone you think can benefit. Thanks again, guys.